It's time for mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Watch on Channel 12 and listen on WBQP Radio on your phone, Alexa, or CarPlay. WBQP is your information station.
It's Tuesday. Get in the swing of things with Morning with Vernon.
It's time for mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now. It's time for mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Watch on Channel 12 and listen on WBQP Radio on your phone, Alexa, or CarPlay. WBQP is your information station.
It's Tuesday. Get in the swing of things with Morning with Vernon.
It's time for mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
All right, everybody. Good morning. Morning, Vernon. Got your coffee, y'all? Get your coffee. Alan, Lois, y'all got your coffee? I used to sip it like I was in the country. I used to sip it like this. Good coffee, good coffee, good coffee. Good morning, everybody. You know, it is the last day of the month. The last day of the month, y'all. The last day of June. Wow. July is tomorrow, y'all. We got the 4th of July coming up on this weekend. I guess they're going to celebrate if you work for the government in official offices and official vacations and stuff like that. I'm assuming that Friday is a holiday. That means I don't get no mail. I don't care where I get in mail or not. As long as the females come, I'm good, okay? But anyway, but y'all, how do you plan to celebrate your 4th of July weekend? Be careful with those fireworks. Parts of the country mighty dry out there. You set the world on fire. And some parts of the country is mighty wet out there. Okay? And then other parts of the country is mighty hot out there. We're going to go through a little heat dome ourselves during this week. Okay? So I sympathize. And you take the time to look out for your neighbors and your grandpa and everybody. And particularly if they don't have any air conditioning, go to Walmart and buy them a little air conditioner or a fan or something so people can survive this heat. You know, this ain't the heat that we had back in my day, okay? No, sir, not at all. We used to work out in the field all day long, okay? And no problem. All right, y'all, let me do something. I had started, since it's going to be the end of the month, and I said I'm going to start July off right. And you know what I'm going to start off with? I want to start off with a prayer, y'all. I want to start off with a prayer. The first thing in the morning. I think nothing changes that. Nothing would hurt to have a prayer. And I talked to Dr. J.O. Gaston and let him pray for us first thing this morning. Dr. Gaston, will you go ahead and start us off with a prayer, man? Will you do that?
Our Father God, we lift our eyes up unto the hills from whence cometh your help, knowing that your help cometh from above. And so, dear God, we come to petition you this morning and to seek you out for the blessings of life. Not only for this morning, but for this afternoon and for the last watch of the day. We seek you out for the blessings of life. Now, Lord, ordain your blessings upon us, upon this waiting congregation, under the sound of my weak voice. We pray in the belovedness of Jesus the Christ, our Lord, our Savior, our God. Amen.
Amen. Amen, y'all. We're going to go ahead and just start the day off, start the program off with a prayer this morning. All right. How about let's go over and see what Cheryl say what's going on in the weather this morning. Cheryl, I just want to get you the weather for the day. She got the weather for the week, but I want to just go ahead and for her to do the weather of the day. All right, Cheryl, go ahead with your weather.
Tuesday brings a 60% chance of thunderstorms. Expect another hot day with a high near 93 degrees and a low around 77.
All right, thank you, Sugar. That's what the day is going to. That's what the day is going to feel like today, y'all. I tell you. Also, what about your lottery tickets? Did you want to check your? Did you want to check on your lottery ticket this morning before we get started? I tell you what I ought to do. I better check in with the traffic report this morning with Miss Lola this morning. See what the traffic like out there since some of us going to be traveling this morning. Okay. All right, Lola. We're gonna go ahead and let you do your traffic report, Sugar. Go ahead.
Good morning, Vernon.
Good morning.
This is Lola with WBQP's Traffic Center. Here's your Pensacola traffic update. Traffic is moving at a moderate pace across most of the Pensacola area this morning, with the heaviest commute expected between 6:30 and 8:30 a.m. On Interstate 10, expect heavier traffic near the Highway 29 interchange, Pine Forest Road, 9 Mile Road, and the I-10 connector as commuters head into downtown Pensacola. Highway 29 and Davis Highway are both seeing increased traffic, especially near Airport Boulevard, University Parkway, hospitals, shopping centers, and Pensacola International Airport. Traffic along 9 Mile Road remains steady, but drivers should anticipate occasional slowdowns near major intersections and retail areas. Downtown Pensacola is beginning to fill with commuters along Cervantes Street, Garden Street, Palafox Street, and Bayfront Parkway. The Pensacola Bay Chappie James Bridge is moving well, with only minor delays during the busiest part of the morning commute. Today's weather calls for warm, humid conditions, with a chance of scattered afternoon thunderstorms. If rain develops, expect slick roads and reduced visibility, so slow down and allow extra following distance. Finally, remember to buckle up, stay off your phone, and give yourself a few extra minutes to reach your destination safely. For WBQP TV 12 and WBQP Radio, I'm Lola with WBQP's Traffic Center. Drive safe, arrive alive. Back to you, Vernon.
Thank you, Lola. We appreciate y'all. Let's go and look at the lottery tickets and see what's going on in the lottery quick this morning before we get into our story, okay? Hey, Sugar, what about the lottery? I guess. All right. Oh, I don't want to.
Vernon, it's Tuesday, Sugar. Time to play lotto to check last night's tickets. We got a win, baby. Love you.
All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. That was a lotto ticket. So check out your lotto tickets this morning. let's get over what we're going to be talking about this morning, y'all. You know, we got a great show lined up for you this morning at about 7:30, y'all. We're going to be bringing in the jobs this morning with Mrs. Shakita Payne. She's going to be talking about what jobs available at ECUA. We're going to be joined by Mr. Jerry McIntosh about 7:45 or so today. And you know, it is Tuesday, and hope you be motivated today on Tuesday. But before we get motivated, we're gonna have the mayor on, at least the city report from the city. Sometime the mayor comes on, and sometime he comes on himself, or he send his trusted assistant city manager there, Mr. Cliff Collins. They'll come on this morning. 8:30, y'all. We got a real special guest this morning, and this is going to be a very important topic that we're going to be talking about this morning. It's talking about funeral needs, pre-need planning. You know, we all need to go ahead and prepare for that, and it's great information that you're going to probably want to hear about, and that is going to be a special guest, Mr. David Hawkins and Mr. Jeremy Akins. We're going to be on this morning, okay? And so we're going to be talking about that. But in the meantime, y'all, we're going to go ahead and do our first commercial break. But when we come back, from the commercial break, we're going to definitely give you some news that you can use on a Tuesday morning. So y'all stay tuned until everybody that Morning with Vernon is on.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it out.
Navigating heart care can be challenging. Baptist makes it better with the latest treatments and innovations and the area's largest, most experienced heart team ready to create a care plan just for you. All when you need us most. Let Baptist make it better. Baptist Healthcare.
I remember these. Will I have the money to send my kid to college? Well, that's specific. How long has that been there? 7-letter word for a bank that helps you reach your goals.
Synovus. Order for Synovus?
Thank you.
Are you Synovus?
Yes.
Are you gonna ask or should I?
A solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Let's talk about your potential today.
For 75 years, Baptist has brought innovative care to our community. Through our Andrews Institute, we continue the legacy by providing advanced total joint care, restoring mobility, strength, and quality of life. Baptist Healthcare, here for you then, now, and always.
Why wait? With Penn Air's fast approvals and low rates, getting a car loan is easier than ever. Penn Air Credit Union. Join us.
Choosing the right school is one of the most important decisions you'll make for your child. At Jacqueline Harris Preparatory Academy, we provide a safe, supporting environment where students grow academically and personally. With strong core instruction and unique programs, students gain confidence, creativity, and real-world skills. At JHPA, we live by our motto, enter to learn, depart to serve. Enroll today and prepare your child to soar.
Hello, I'm Dr. Isaac Williams, and I'm running for School Board District 3. Our community is asking for change, and I agree. District 3 deserves change. District 3 deserves a representative who will listen, communicate, and stay connected to the community. Our students need every opportunity to succeed. Our teachers need support, and our community and parents need a voice. I've spent my time as a servant leader in the Marine Corps, as a pastor, as a community activist, and I'm prepared now to serve District 3 on day one. And I will be honored to earn your support and your vote on August 18th. God bless you. God keep you.
Keep growing.
Remember where you came from. It's the foundation of who you are.
Show up for others.
That's been our approach at Penn Air for 90 years. Penn Air Credit Union, 90 years strong.
Hello, I'm David Williams, District 3 Representative, seeking re-election to the Escambia County School Board. 4 years ago, I said, together we can make a difference. Today, I'm proud to say, together we have made a difference, thanks to your trust. And because of you, we do not have any failing schools. Our schools are safer, we've closed the achievement gap, and our students are college and career ready. I'm asking for your support again to re-elect me so that we continue the work that we started 4 years ago. Please visit my website at davidwilliams3.com to learn more about my initiatives I have accomplished and the ones I will pursue over the next 4 years. Early voting is August 8th through the 15th, and the primary is August 18th. Your vote is essential to keeping our community moving forward. Thank you.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
Hi, this is J.O. Gatson of Emmaus Baptist Church, Pensacola, Florida, and we come to you on this beautiful Tuesday that the Lord has given us. As a matter of fact, it's our Testimony Tuesday, and we've come to bless His name in sacred words of prayer. Let us pray. Father God, we come that we may testify on this Testimony Tuesday of your goodness in spite of our difficulties, our situations, our circumstances, in spite of what's ahead of us, as Mama would say. We've come to testify of your goodness and to say thank you. And so, Lord, this is our premise this morning. That is to bless you on this Tuesday, dear God, and to seek you out for the blessings of life. As we pray now in the belovedness of Jesus the Christ, our Lord, our Savior, our God, the master of the seed, our disparity. Amen.
WBQP salutes the spirit of America, celebrating 250 years of freedom. Happy birthday, USA!
WBQP goals are to inform, to inspire, to educate, and to entertain. The station that cares. The voice of the Black community. Your information station.
Station that cares.
WBQP TV and radio. The station that cares.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's a beautiful day out there, and let's get you caught up on everything.
Today brings a 60% chance of thunderstorms. Expect another hot day with a high near 93 degrees and a low around 77. Wednesday stays active with a 60% chance of scattered thunderstorms. Temperatures remain in the low 90s with a low around 77. Thursday looks a little calmer. Expect a high near 91 degrees, a low of 77, and about a 30% chance of rain. And we wrap up the week on Friday with more heat and humidity. Highs reach 91 degrees with a low near 78, and there's a 40% chance of afternoon thunderstorms. Overall, expect a hot, humid week with afternoon and evening storm chances throughout the week. This is Cheryl Mulrain, and that's your weekly weather forecast on WBQP TV.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's a beautiful day out there, and let's get you caught up on everything.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it out.
All right, everybody. Good morning. Morning with Vernon, y'all. Good morning with Vernon. We're going to go ahead and talk about what's happening in our news cycle this morning, okay? So let you talk about what news you can use.
Can you believe it's Tuesday already, Vernon?
Not only that, Vernon has news you can use, so listen up.
All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to start our news story off this morning, y'all. Local, we have to go to some of the local news and some of the regional news, state news, and national news. But we're going to start off with a local story this morning. The sheriff, Chip Simmons, y'all, Sheriff Chip Simmons, I guess he's on his job. They have been going around and getting these what call crack houses. I don't know, drug houses he called them, but you know what he's doing differently? Y'all see the sign in the yard there? When he go out and they find a drug house and they bust his drug house, then he leave his calling card there. He said, this drug house is closed. Well, Chip, Sheriff Simmons, I got a little secret to tell you. You know, when you go to McDonald's and the sign says closed, what you gonna do? You're just gonna go home and say, I'm not gonna have a McDonald's? No, you're gonna go to the next McDonald's house that's open, right? So hopefully this ain't the case here. But anyhow, they are putting yard signs where they're busting houses. They went to a house, I guess it was last Friday. You know, I talked to them last Friday. They arrested a 30-year-old man, and they served a search warrant on his home and on Muldoon Road. And during that raid, they found fentanyl and guns and money and all that other kind of stuff. And but as a result of it, they've been doing a lot of busting of what they call drug houses. And how do they know the drug houses? People report it. You know, we got tip line, we got the what you call it? Stops when you call anonymously, okay? Crime Stopper. We got Crime Stoppers. And then Crime Stopper would tip people off, and then they go in these drug houses, and rightfully so, they're gonna close them. But the cute little touch that I think that he gonna use some of that drug money that they find. That's where your drug money comes in, y'all. When they find they do stuff like this, and they can pay for these signs and everything. So it's probably is a good thing. All right, let me move on to some more tragic news, if you will. We had a car accident yesterday near the Chimney. You know where the park is, the Chimney, out on Scenic Highway. I think most of you do know. A person was killed yesterday in a car accident when a car pulled out right in front of a pickup truck and kind of resulted in a T-bone collision. And the driver of that car did not survive that accident. Y'all be careful when driving. The weekend coming up. Safety, if you're out on that road, if you're traveling out on the highway, I want you to be safe out there as much as you can. There's a lot to be said about defensive driving, y'all, okay? A lot to be said about defensive driving, because you got to drive for other people as well. The Escambia County deputies, y'all, is looking for a man. He's been going around stealing air conditioning from vulnerable places like nursing homes and so forth, okay? And so I had a picture of him. I got to find here just a second. I want to get his pictures. I'm gonna put his picture up there so you can see him. And but they busted him. This guy here, he did get busted, okay, as a result of stealing air conditioning. We're gonna need these air conditioning, particularly from the vulnerable and the elderly that gonna depend on this air conditioning, because we got triple digit heat, or this phenomenon they call what it feel like. It's actually not 115 degrees. It's probably only like 90 degrees, but they say it feels like 115 degrees. So I don't know when that phenomenon came in. But anyway, this 48-year-old man is wanted for stealing 2 air conditioners from a daycare over on Mobile Highway. And so they have not found him, I don't think. Or maybe they have found him. I'm not sure. But anyway, not only that, he also wanted for scrapping $30,000 worth of handrails that were stolen from businesses on the street there. But his name, if you Crime Stoppers, is the tip that you're gonna have to call. Crime Stoppers, or either call the sheriff office directly, 850-436-9620. So apparently from this report, he has not been apprehended yet. That's what it looked like. If you see him, call Crime Stoppers. If you don't want to get involved, call Crime Stoppers. There's a reward in it for you, leading to the arrest and conviction of this man if you use Crime Stoppers. If you don't care whether you're involved or not, just call the sheriff office directly, because they need to get him off the street, because he's been charged with burglary and grand theft and trafficking drugs and stolen property and fraud and trespassing and intent to commit larceny and damage to property. They got him for everything in the book, y'all. You got him for everything in the book. So if you see him, go ahead, feel free to go ahead and report the old boy, and maybe it'll pay off for you. All right, let's go to a different story this morning. It's teen angels. You don't want to call them an angel. I guess we wouldn't want to call him a devil, would we? But anyhow, a teen angel, he played concert at the Gulf Breeze assisted living facilities to honor grandfathers. Okay, this young man here, that's what he's doing on his summer vacation, y'all. He's spending time at nursing homes and different places playing the piano for the audience, for the audience in nursing homes and places like that. That's a good thing. That's a good way for him, I think, to spend his summer. Good for you. Good for you. Good to report something new. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the World Cup, y'all. You know that's going on in America today, and we got a lot of people coming in from different countries and so forth. They just enjoying the America way of life. But if you're into this World Cup soccer, and I don't know, but they got a lot of teams playing across the country. But one of the good things about it helping our economy, y'all. They're reporting new jobs, and they added. They said it added about 70,000 jobs to the economy back in May. So that is a good thing. That's a good thing. So, and also people coming over from other countries appreciating the things that we take for granted. Okay, things that we take for granted. One of the things they discovered was ranch dressing. Hell, they can take. Hell, you can have my part. You can take my part of ranch dressing back. I can't stand ranch dressing. So I don't see what they find in it, but each to his own, and each culture is different, and we like to also, kind of respect that, and we appreciate folks appreciating our culture, yeah. All right, let's move on to a different story over in Beulah. If you was in Beulah yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. It's kind of old news now, but they had a tractor trailer that crashed into a telephone pole and blocked the roadway. Y'all know if you're on Highway 90 there, and it ain't too many detours you can take, okay, on Highway 90. So a lot of folks were kind of inconvenienced there because this 71-year-old man that was involved in the accident, he got hurt, but they took him to the hospital, but for injuries, but they were not life-threatening injuries. So they had to completely block off the Beulah Road until they can clear it. Now, what caused it, we don't know yet. That is still under investigations. Okay, under investigation. Speaking of trying to do something, here's a veteran named Joe Castanova. Okay, after he spent 4 years in the Air Force during the Vietnam War, he decided to become a postal worker. And now Joe is retired, okay? But that wasn't the end of the things that he wanted. He's a veteran, so he began in his true calling with the USO. Y'all remember the USO, the United Service Organization? And so for him, he's 81 years old, and he's been volunteering since he's been out, and so he helped start this organization here in Northwest Florida, and but anyway, that's a good feel good story of somebody trying to make a difference. This is a military town. We want to appreciate the things that we do here in the military, and so you hadn't heard much about the USO lately, but it is a great organization for this military town. So it's good to know that some people trying to make a difference here in our world. All right, let's go on to another story here, which is not trying to make a difference. This 36-year-old man, I think he's from Louisiana, but he was arrested yesterday at for the shooting at Budget Inn. We had Officer Mike Woods on yesterday, and he was talking about they had responded to a call at the Budget Inn on Mobile Highway on Savantee. Savantee rented Mobile Highway, but it was on Savantee Street, and because of a shot, what they call this thing, a shot detector. You know, they got these things that can detect gunshots. Okay, and so the officer reported to that, and they found a man down at about 2:30 in the morning. But they had took him to the hospital, but he did not survive the shooting. And so they arrested this man here as a result of this murder. It's still under investigation. He's been held without bond, y'all. But he's a 36-year-old Louisiana man. We don't know all the details, but when we get it, we will pass it on to you. Okay, we'll pass it on to you. All right. Now, this, I know you don't care about this story, but I report them as I see them. This is over in Orange Beach, Alabama, where the city of Orange Beach was going to buy this campground, and but the price got too big for them, so they backed out of it, and so we got different opinions about whether or not they should have bought that campground. But anyway, that's as my grandma used to say about you need to stay out of white folks' business. But that's white folks' business over there in Orange Beach, Alabama. So we'll get on to another story. You know, the Supreme Court, y'all, is it's the end of they have to after every year towards June, they have to end their session in June, and I don't know why these decisions they hold a lot of decisions until the end of the year. Instead of, some of them they release like they did all the things for Trump. I think maybe it's the emergency decision they release throughout the year. I'm not sure because I'm not a Supreme Court expert here. But anyway, but I do know in the month of June, as they're trying to close their session, then they start releasing all of these decisions they made. And they released one decision yesterday expanding Trump's power as president. He can do whatever he wants to do as far as firing any of the executive branch's employees. Now, he wanted to fire this black lady that happened to work for the feds, but they carved that out. They said, no, you cannot fire the Fed chair or enter its employees. So you don't have the authority to do that, but you can fire anybody else in those agencies. So they did that. They did a lot of other things. We're going to talk about hopefully when Jerry come on this morning, we're going to talk about the mail-in ballot thing. They would not allow them to get rid of mail-in ballots. Okay, so the Supreme Court saying that if you got mail-in ballots, you're good to go. And if you don't get there on election day, you have to wait until the ballots get there. Okay, as long as they were mailed, only a mail in on that day. But the problem with it is that Trump administration controls the post office, okay? And so he threatened to have the post office not deliver your mail-in ballots. But I was talking to Derek Scott on Sunday, and he's a part of the Democratic Party. So don't worry about it. You do what you normally do. We'll let it all come out in the wash. Apparently, from yesterday's decision from the Supreme Court, they're saying that we don't care when it was mailed. You got to count those votes when they get there. And why would they want to get rid of mail-in ballots? I don't understand that either. Because as many military people, as many disabled people, as many lazy people like me that don't want to go to the polls, we got a right to vote. And we don't have to physically have to go there. But anyway, that's the Republicans' attempt to suppress voting. And so, and a lot of other decisions came down as a result of yesterday, and that we're going to be talking about along the way. Okay. All right. Another story over in Alabama. I mean, this is over in Mississippi. I think it's in Mississippi. I don't know what the fascination with putting these old boats. This is an old casino boat, right? They want to sink it to create a reef out there. Gonna be so much junk in the bottom of the ocean. Fishes ain't gonna have nowhere to. Well, maybe they put them down there for the fish to live, but I don't know. I don't know about all this junk they sinking down to the bottom of the ocean there. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next story with your governor DeSantis. He vetoed a line item bill, a $1.6 million line item, including several things that affecting us right here in Northwest Florida. But he signed a $117 billion budget on Monday, but he got a right to veto certain line items in that budget. So he vetoed $1.6 billion of that, and that was affecting Northwest Florida. Okay, things like they had $500,000 to expand program for all inclusive care for the elderly on the PACE program in Northwest Florida. Why in the hell would he veto that? But he did. He vetoed $1.3 million to buy hazard material or response vehicles for Escambia County. Why would he do that? I don't know. Then he vetoed a $750,000 for the city of Fort Walton Beach Highway 98 around the mound project and so forth. But anyhow, these budgets it's going to affect us in Northwest Florida, so we'll deal with it as we go along here. Another project that the city and that they got going is trying to place defibrillators in around Escambia County. Now, Commissioner Hoffberger, that's one of her pet peeve project, but they're saying is what they call the 4-minute community response program, that they're trying to get businesses and so forth to purchase these defibrillators and put them in strategic places that if you need one, you are within 4 minutes of getting one from somewhere. So we'll see how that proposal is going to go. We're going to see how that proposal is going to go along as well. Sounds like a good idea on the surface, but we'll see what happens. Now, y'all have to tell you this now. The sheriff and I was talking 2 weeks ago about, we were laughing really. We had arrested a guy that was 22 years old. And I swear to God, that guy looked 48 years old to me. And I couldn't understand why that man looked so old. But then I did start doing some research on it. And the people that take meth, okay, they say meth ages people. Okay, if you're a meth user, it really ages people as well. But anyway, I said that to say, I know when I looked at this guy here, I assumed he was more than 18 years old. He's 18 years old, y'all. He was charged, but here's not a meth problem. His problem is that he is charged with murdering a 15-year-old girl in Bruton, Alabama. Okay, so his name is William Sanders of East Bruton. He's charged with reckless murder and of a 15-year-old girl. That is so sad. That's really so sad. When it is really heartbreaking when you think about it. Well, I don't have the details on what happened, and the details will come out later on what happened. But I'm going to tell you another really, really sad story. And this story will break your heart when you got children murdering children, and we're going to have to, this is going to be an issue. There's a national story you need to keep your eyes out on, where a 10-year-old boy shot at point blank and killed his younger siblings with the gun. Okay, killed his very young sibling point blank. And but maybe now where would a 10-year-old learn that from? Okay, where would a 10-year-old learn that from? So, but I want you to keep your eyes on that story, because that is something that is tragic, and it's something that the parents need to go to jail for. Number one, if you're going to have guns in your house, They need to be secure, need to be locked up, and so forth. And with video games, I think is another contributor to when we let these kids play these shoot 'em up video games. I just don't understand. Let's move on to something that my son would appreciate because he's a car man. He loves himself some cars. Okay, he just really loves himself some cars. They got a they got um, a contest, if you will, to see which cop car looked the best. So the Florida Highway Patrol got some neat little cars. They got some Scat Cats and they got these Mustangs. See the cute little Mustang, and so they entered their cruiser into a contest, and so they're seeking that they've been winning so far. So they gonna put their little Mustang, I guess, back into the 2026 American Association of State Troopers Best Looking Car Cruiser competition. Lord have mercy. Lord, I guess the cops have to have a little fun too. But anyway, these are some nice looking cars though, and don't think you can outrun them either because they're some fast cars. But apparently, the Florida Highway Patrol have been winning for the last 3 years for the best looking cop car, and now this is the fourth year and they're expecting to win again. So we'll see how that story turns out. But I have to give you credit because I do think they got some nice looking cop cars, y'all. If you into cars, okay, just kind of break this crazy story up for the new. You know, the weekend is coming up, y'all. The 4th of July weekend, and there are going to be a lot of fireworks going on in and around town and a lot of activities. Definitely want you to be safe. Y'all do know it's illegal to have certain types of fireworks. The one in the city of Pensacola, the one that explodes and the one that takes off. But you can have some that don't do that, but like maybe like a firecracker or something like that. But you can't have these one that goes up in the air. But we will have our annual fireworks show downtown. It's starting at 9 o'clock, but the actual festivities are going to start much earlier. So you need to get downtown early on Saturday, and so you can put your place into the get your seat so you can go and have a good seat in the house and be safe over this weekend, okay? If you will. Ready? Let's go on to another story. This is a 39-year-old woman that is reported. It's going a little bit more on national news, but and I'm saying it's national, but it is really happened over in Gulf Shores, Alabama. But the woman was from Oklahoma. She died as a result of falling from a moving vehicle last Thursday in Gulf Shores. The circumstances around it, they found her name was Jacqueline Chaplin. She's from Oklahoma, and they're trying to determine what happened. Officer said that somehow she was a passenger and she fell from the vehicle. So it is an investigation on actually what happened and why she fell from in the vehicle. We don't know. I don't know whether it was an open car like a dune buggy or whether it was a pickup truck. But the problem is that she died from the injuries she sustained in that incident. Okay. So again, safety is the word, y'all. Safety is the word. Okay. All right. Two stories I want to share about that. I put this eagle up there. I got two things I want to say about it. Number one is that it symbolizes the United States of America. Okay, that's our national bird is the eagle. But, and I'm saying that to say that because this weekend in Florida, they're gonna let you go into all the state parks this weekend for the holidays for free. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay to get into the parks for the state park. And I imagine the national parks may be the same way. I don't have conclusive evidence of that, but they usually on holidays. They usually let certain folks. This is America's birthday, so you may not have to pay go into the parks this year. We'll see. Now, the other reason I put this bird on here is only because it's our national birthday symbol, and because they're gonna let folks into the park free. But have you been following that other story that they got this cam on these birds, and they got a tree cam on these birds, Jackie and somebody, I don't know. But one of the birds, the story yesterday, one of the eaglets, I guess, they're getting to be, there was babies, now they ought to be at least teenagers now, but still can't fly. One of them finally learned to fly, but the other one of the male that was flying, but the female hadn't learned to fly just yet. And she fell out. They say she fell out the nest, but you look at the video, look like her brother kicked out the nest. So, girl, you going out there, you need to fly. But she didn't. She dropped like a rock. So they're hoping that this eagle is gonna be okay. And I know they got cameras there. They ought to have somebody to find the bird. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's move on to a different story. Let's talk something sweet like me. Okay. Candy, M&M candy. You know you do know your Kennedy. What's his Secretary of Health? I guess whatever he does. Okay, he forbid certain dyes that's in. Get rid of certain dyes, and so therefore it affected a lot of industries. So M&M's M&M have decided that they are going to get rid of some of their colored natural. They're using natural dyes in their M&M products starting in August. So, in other words, you're not going to be able to have any blue or brown M&Ms after that. I don't think so. You need to keep that one in mind. Another story that just came up this morning, and I don't have the details on it, about a girl. She was 11 years old, right? A girl was 11 years old, shot. I think she was in South Florida at a McDonald's. I believe it was a McDonald's. I'm not absolutely sure. What is the McDonald's? But I think it is a McDonald's. But anyway, the story. Let me see if I can find, because it just popped up here. But she, down in South Florida, 11-year-old girl and her father was shot while sitting in the vehicle waiting for their food order at a McDonald's in Hallandale Beach, Florida. Okay, and the shooting happened. I don't know. It must have been either late yesterday afternoon, but anyway, police said the girl and her father was just innocent bystanders when an altercation between multiple people escalated in the exchange of gunfire, and both were struck while sitting in their vehicle waiting for their order. They were taken to the hospital. Apparently, hopefully, they're in pretty stable condition. So the report saying that the father had been released, but the girl, the 11-year-old girl, is still in the hospital. So and they also learned there were two other kids in the car too, ages 2 and 5, that was in that vehicle. So Lord have mercy. Just y'all to help me understand these crazy stories coming out here, y'all. I don't. But anyway, let's talk about some national stories before I go. And this guy here, Cassidy. Now, talking about chickens coming home to roost, I'll be finished in a minute because we got to get to some jobs. Talking about chicken come on the roof. Cassidy, and no good deed goes unpunished. And everybody ought to know that Trump is deranged, and everybody suck up to him, and everything he touched turns to disaster. Everybody in his orbit ends up on the bad side. I want you to think about that. Does anybody that's involved with Trump, anything ever good happen to them, they always end up a lot worse off than they was before. And then he always throw them under the bus as he used them. And well, this guy here voted with Trump a lot. And then he did something that Trump didn't like. So Trump decided to have somebody run against. He lost his race. And now he decided he's going to have a little revenge on Trump. And now he's exacting his revenge on Trump and blocking some of the bills that Trump wants to get out, like that Save America Act and so forth like that. So you're gonna see a lot of that. And that's maybe that's God's way. Maybe that was God's way of getting back. Okay, maybe that's it. Okay, because you got 4 of those senators he had to lose their primaries, but Trump forgot they still got 5 or 6 months in office. So that now they're trying to exact revenge on him. Okay. Now, yesterday, day before yesterday, I believe the Supreme Court sent down a ruling that you can deport all of these Haitians and everything else. So this guy here, Mark Wayne Mullins, I guess he intended to do that. He said yesterday that their deportation numbers for 2026 already surpassed all of the numbers that they had in 2025, and looked like in 2026, and then we got 2 more years to go, 2027, 2028. So we probably won't have any immigrants in this country by the time Trump get out of office. Okay, probably won't have any at all. This guy here, let me move on so I can go on. This guy here is a Canadian, you guys, and he traveled to the U.S. They busted him. I don't know what he looked like. He got the short end of the stick here. But anyway, he traveled to the U.S. to kill a woman that he met online. Okay. It's so, gosh, y'all help me. Woo. Now, here's a story I was telling you about the 10-year-old was charged with. And I said his youngest sibling, the story here is that this 10-year-old is charged with murdering his 7-month-old baby sister. Okay. Shot her in the head with a gun. So I don't have all the details on that story, but it's definitely stunning. Absolutely stunning. All right. The last story here is that the Murdoch lawyer, they found some problem with his testimony, so they had to retry, and they say they are retrying him again. And now this time he might walk, but I'm not sure he will. But he just might walk. But the defense saying that they found some DNA other than his, so it might be an issue. All right, the last thing, and like I told you, they still looking for this guy here, y'all. They're still looking for this man here. So he's the guy that going around stealing daycare ACs and so forth like that. So you got that. All right, y'all. It is 7:30 time frame. You know what happens at 7:30, because we got to find out all this bad news. We want jobs, okay? We absolutely need some jobs. And so every Tuesday we have Mrs. Chiquita Payne to come on and talk about jobs and career opportunities at the ECUA. So let's get her report on right now, okay?
Good morning. It's 7:30 on Tuesday, and this is WBQP TV. Our top story today, a major announcement regarding jobs from the ECUA. And welcome to Job Opportunities with Chiquita Payne. Join us every Tuesday morning at 7:30 for the latest openings, only on WBQP TV.
Hi, I am Chiquita Payne, and here are the job openings for today for ECUA.
Well, good morning, Miss Chiquita Payne.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. You looking gorgeous this morning.
Thank you very much.
All righty. How was your weekend, sugar?
Wasn't too bad. Feeling a little under the weather, but got over it and had a great weekend afterwards.
Very good. You planning a great 4th of July weekend?
Not at all. Trying to relax.
Trying to relax. Oh, you speaking of that, if you work for ECUA, would they be off on Friday?
Good question. Yes, the office will be closed. So if you need to do any business with ECUA, please do it before Friday because we will be closed for the holiday. We'll, of course, be open again on Monday. So definitely, if you have any bills you need to pay, have questions, need to just come up to talk to someone, employment, whatever, we will be closed on Friday.
Yeah, you don't be got no water on the long weekend, so make sure you get that water bill paid. Well, Well, that might be good. Maybe they can't come and cut the water off since they got to be off that day.
Well, that's the thing because if it's due, they may cut it off Thursday. So make sure it's paid.
Yeah, make sure it's paid. You got that right. Yes, ma'am. All right, talk about jobs.
Sure. So we do have quite a few jobs, as always. And as you know, we're always looking for mechanics. One of the newest positions we have on the site is a MRF maintenance technician. Now, this is a position that is pretty much on that same level of mechanic because you're working with the recycling facility. You're helping to make sure that their equipment is continuously working. So this is an entry-level position. Excuse me. It does start at $16.06, but you do have that opportunity to advance in your career. This position can help you move from the MRF maintenance tech to a mechanical craft worker, which is entry level for the industrial plant mechanic. So pretty much all of those positions, you are working with the larger equipment. You're helping to repair the larger equipment, the more industrialized type equipment that we're using. So take a look at that. If it's something that you're interested in, again, it is at our recycling facility. Just go to our website, www.ecua.fl.gov. Click on careers, then current opportunities. You'll see this position as well as the mechanical craft worker position that we have. You'll see our fleet mechanic, our lift station mechanic, and a few others as well.
Okay. All righty. I see we joined this morning with Edric. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Doing very well, thank you. And how about you?
I'm doing good. Welcome to WBQP and ECUA Tuesday morning job program, if you will, for lack of a better term. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. All righty. But anyway, go ahead, Shakita, continue. I thought Edric coming in. He was shy last week. He didn't come on, but now we get a chance to see who he is. And he's going to be assisting you with the job stuff, huh, Shakita?
Yes, he's my coworker. We're both in recruiting, so when you see us out and about, whether it's at the job fairs, at school events, community events, we're tag teaming. We're working together on trying to make sure that people know about our jobs and come ask us questions and definitely apply for the positions.
All right, Edric McKnight, tell folks a little bit about who you are so we can get you introduced to the community here, okay?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Like I said, found out last time I was on that I am new to the area. I have hopped all over the country with different positions, and was kind of looking forward to an opportunity just to kind of stay local, not travel all the time. And so ECUA is kind of been the perfect opportunity. I kind of bounce back and forth between here and Ocala because my wife is still in Ocala, and I'm here working. But for me, I've kind of been in the HR recruiting industry for about 20 years or so, and kind of fell into it in college and stuck with it. I kind of loved it. That's kind of me in a nutshell.
All right. Well, welcome to Pensacola, my man.
Thank you.
All righty now. Okay, now, Shakita, that job you talked about, the very first job you talked about, that's paying $16 an hour. So
Yes.
is that a trainee job?
In a sense, yes. Pretty much they're looking for someone with at least 2 years of experience as a mechanics helper or something similar.
Okay.
So it's not that you have to have that true mechanical experience where you're actually working on things on your own as like a mechanic. Just having that helper's experience, helping a mechanic, that's good enough to get you in the door.
Okay. Okay. And wow. That's a new position that y'all opened this week that we didn't have on it last week, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Now these other ones are still you still got a whole bunch of them that's unfilled, right?
Right. Yes, definitely. As I always say, we're always looking for mechanics. So we definitely need fleet mechanics. So if you have that experience working on vehicles, whether it's working on vehicles around your home, working on your own personal vehicle, building your own cars, what have you, working at Walmart, working, at Tires Plus, whatever the case, and you have that mechanical background, definitely take a look at our fleet mechanic position that's on our website. Go ahead and apply for that position. It also has career progressions as well. So you have that opportunity to advance in your career.
You know what, Shakita, one of the things that you just touched on that people definitely will need to understand is that experience. Whether that experience is paid or unpaid, it still counts, right?
That's right. What we're looking for is what experience that you have. We're not looking to see how much you made on that job. We just need to know what your mechanical background is. Do you have that background to where you can learn new information, learn how to fix things? Will you pay attention?
Yeah.
What type of equipment have you worked on? And that's going to take you a long way. So that's why I say, even if you worked on vehicles at your home, you've helped people fix your own vehicle, help family members, neighbors, what have you. We just want to know the experience that you have because that will take you a long way.
It will. Wow. And that's what I think people need to try to understand when they're preparing their applications and their resumes. Sometimes they forget about that unpaid experience that they got that might be the thing that tips them over to a new job, that gets them in there.
Exactly. You have to think outside the box. Don't just stay focused on the jobs that you got paid doing, but think of things that you do, outside. For example, if we have a clerical position that comes open, I always tell people to think about things that you may do, even if you're doing things around the home, maybe at church, in community, different clubs or organizations you might be associated with. Think about that and the experience that you have that would apply to that position.
Yeah,
give yourself credit for everything.
Exactly. Some folks just only think about sometimes for that paid experience that they have, but I think that they need to kind of a little bit think outside the box. Because paid or unpaid experience is experience, regardless of how you got it.
That's right.
Okay. Tell them about the benefits again. I just sometimes it's always amazes me. You all got some for the area. You all got some well-paying jobs for the area.
We actually do.
And for the number of vacancies I see every week, it's mind blowing to me. I don't know whether the turnover, I don't know whether y'all have that much turnover rate or is it the shortage? I don't know, shortage of skills in the area. Why is that?
Well, just kind of looking at the jobs, we have had a bit of turnover. However, we're at that time for ECU Way where we're seeing a lot of people retiring.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the positions that we know we're going to try to backfill because we're losing a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge that's coming in. So when we have these positions out there, we're trying to bring people in that can see that, this is a career. It's not just a job where you can just hop from job to job, but it's a career. You can stay here, get your retirement, have great benefits for you and your family. And, it's one reason why we like to come on every week to kind of remind people that we do have these types of jobs out here. When it comes down to benefits, of course, we offer all the benefits: health, dental, vision, life insurance for our employees. You're part of the Florida retirement system, which to me is the best retirement program. Our employees only put in 3% to their retirement. ECUA makes a contribution as well. And I always say a contribution because we never do a match 3% for 3%. We usually put in just a little bit more than that. So sometimes it may be double, maybe 6%, depending on what, our financial status is for that year, is what we are told that we have to put in. So you can't beat that coming in with a pension plan. A lot of folks have the 401ks and, we have the investment plan as well, but having that pension plan, that's kind of going away. So being able to have that opportunity to be a part of that and just watch your retirement grow every pay period, that's a great investment for you.
It really is. It really is. Wow. All right. Y'all have anything else y'all want to share this morning? And, the new job, other than the new one you had, that's the only one that was added?
That's the only one that we have for this week. Now, of course, things can change. We can post another job. Something may come up later in the week. We may have something new next week or what have you. But in any event, always definitely take a look at our website, www.ecua.fl.gov. Click on careers, then current opportunities, and you'll see all the positions we have open right now.
All right. Edric, you got anything? Yeah.
I think Chiquita pretty much knocked it out of the park.
Okay. All righty then. All right. Well, if nothing else, I will see you guys on next Tuesday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you so much, y'all. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, thank you now. Yeah, that's Miss Chiquita Payne, and she had a new employee that working with her, Mr. Edric, and they'll be on every Tuesday. Y'all, please help me understand why we don't want to have to show these vacancies every week. We need somebody to fill these jobs, okay? Fill these jobs, and when you fill them, you got a well-paying job. You don't have a job, you got a career, okay? You don't have a job, you have a career. You got to trust me on that. All right, y'all. I tell you what will happen in a little bit here, if you will, since we going to go on further this morning. I got a feature I want to add sometime today, is what I call, what's going on in Black America, the news that affecting Black folks. I'm trying to get that in there as well. And we also included a weekly sports report as well into the story. But at around 8 o'clock time frame, we're going to be joined this morning with Jerry McIntyre. Jerry is my co-host on Tuesday, and we got a lot of things we're going to be talking about this morning. And at 8, we're going to have the City of Pensacola update, either with Mayor D.C. Reeves or either with Mr. Cliff Collins, that's going to be there. And 8:30, y'all don't want to miss this. We're going to have a special guest, a couple of guests this morning from Joe Morris Funeral Home, and they're going to talk about pre-need planning and pre-needs, if you will. Okay. All right. I tell you what I'm going to do. June is Black History Month, and I want to see if we can honor Black history. Vernon, I told y'all, when you get old, you remember the second thing to go. But no, June is a couple things that happen in June. Juneteenth is one of the prime things that happen in June. But we also have Pride Month in June. But more than that, because we in the music, we got Black Music Month. Black Music Month is in June. So we want to honor Black Music Month and so forth. And when we come back from the commercial break, we're hopefully going to be talking to Mr. Jerry McIntosh and somebody from the city, okay?
WBQP celebrates the artists, the legends, and the sound of a generation. Join us all June long for Black Music Month, where the music never stops.
Soul, jazz, blues, and R&B, celebrating Black music history. All month long, sing along. June is Black Music.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it out.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Call State Farm agent Arthur Searcy for your personal price plan today.
I remember these. Will I have the money to send my kid to college? Well, that's specific. How long has that been there? 7-letter word for a bank that helps you reach your goals.
Synovus. Order for Synovus?
Thank you.
Are you Synovus?
Yes.
Are you gonna ask or should I?
A solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Let's talk about your potential today.
Since 1951, we've been here for our local community, creating pathways to care. We meet you where you are, with trusted doctors in convenient locations throughout the area. Baptist Healthcare, here for you then, now, and always.
Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your menwear needs.
Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home has been in business since 1913. Hi, I'm David Hawkins, the owner of Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home, saying we are a full-service funeral home. We offer pre-need funeral planning. We have a newly remodeled chapel and conference facility. Stop by and see us today. We have 9 vehicles, all waiting to service you. At Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home, we appreciate your stopping by. On behalf of all of our family here at Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home, thank you so much for allowing our family to serve you.
Keep growing.
Remember where you came from. It's the foundation of who you are.
Show up for others.
That's been our approach at Pen Air for 90 years. Pen Air Credit Union, 90 years strong.
WBQP salutes the spirit of America, celebrating 250 years of freedom. Happy birthday, USA!
I'm Dr. Isaac Williams, and I'm running for School Board District 3. Our community is asking for change, and I agree. District 3 deserves change. District 3 deserves a representative who will listen, communicate, and stay connected to the community. Our students need every opportunity to succeed. Our teachers need support, and our community and parents need a voice. I've spent my time as a servant leader in the Marine Corps, as a pastor, as a community activist, and I'm prepared now to serve District 3 on day 1. And I will be honored to earn your support and your vote on August 18th. God bless you. God keep you.
Choosing the right school is one of the most important decisions you'll make for your child. At Jacqueline Harris Preparatory Academy, we provide a safe, supporting environment where students grow academically and personally. With strong core instruction and unique programs, students gain confidence, creativity, and real-world skills. At JHPA, we live by our motto, enter to learn, depart to serve. Enroll today and prepare your child to soar.
Vernon, it's Tuesday Sugar. Time to play Lotto to check last night's tickets. We gotta win, baby. Love you.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Getson on your WBQP.
Hi, this is J.O. Gatson of Emmaus Baptist Church, Pensacola, Florida, and we come to you on this beautiful Tuesday that the Lord has given us. As a matter of fact, it's our Testimony Tuesday, and we've come to bless His name in sacred words of prayer. Let us pray. Father God, we come that we may testify on this Testimony Tuesday of your goodness in spite of our difficulties, our situations, our circumstances, in spite of what's ahead of us, as Mama would say. We've come to testify of your goodness and to say thank you. And so, Lord, this is our premise this morning. That is to bless you on this Tuesday, dear God, and to seek you out for the blessings of life. As we pray now in the belovedness of Jesus the Christ, our Lord, our Savior, our God, the master of the seed, our disparity. Amen.
Hi, Vernon. Here's your WBQP weekly weather forecast. Tuesday brings a 60% chance of thunderstorms. Expect another hot day with a high near 93 degrees and a low around 77. Wednesday stays active with a 60% chance of scattered thunderstorms. Temperatures remain in the low 90s with a low around 77. Thursday looks a little calmer. Expect a high near 91 degrees, a low of 77, and about a 30% chance of rain. And we wrap up the week on Friday with more heat and humidity. Highs reach 91 degrees with a low near 78, and there's a 40% chance of afternoon thunderstorms. Overall, expect a hot, humid week with afternoon and evening storm chances throughout the week. This is Cheryl Mulrain, and that's your weekly weather forecast on WBQP TV.
The voice of the Black community. Your information station.
Station that cares.
WBQP TV and radio. The station that cares. WBQP goals are to inform, to inspire, to educate, and to entertain. The station that cares.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's a beautiful day out there, and let's get you caught up on everything.
It's time for mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it out.
Let me make sure I get my mic turned back on. Good morning, everybody. You know, it is 8 o'clock time frame, and you know, we got Tuesday mornings reserved for the city of Pensacola to do the city report. I'll be talking either with Mayor D.C. Reed, either with Mr. Cliff. I think Cliff turn is today. The report from the city. Good morning, Cliff. Are you there with me this morning? Good morning.
I am there with you. Good morning. How are you, Vernon?
I am doing well. Understand you saying, I know you're on the road, on the go there. You saying you ran into some weather out there this morning?
Oh, no. What I was saying was, as you were talking to me, weather was coming in the other earpiece.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you. I had the same issue. I had the program in one ear and you in the other ear, and I couldn't hardly hear you. It was just like you probably had it with me as well. How was your week, man?
Oh, week is going well. I can't complain. It's Tuesday. It's a short week for most of us. I mean, at the state level, I think they take their day off on Thursday, so that's all right. But
what?
Yeah,
the state day off on Thursday and Friday.
I think Thursday and Friday and Monday. I think the Sanchez, he was pretty generous on approving all that. Yeah,
really. Oh.
Yeah.
And so
yes, indeed.
Is the city gonna follow suit?
Oh no, we gonna keep working to the last day. That's the way we do it. And it's important stuff out there to make sure one, we can take care of last minute stuff for the people. What I love about this show, Vernon, and I tell you this here frequently, is that one, I appreciate what you do. As I think about the entire week and the connection that you bring to the people of Pensacola, how you sort of, cover almost every base that you can think of for a small town or even a big town, but you make sure the people are informed and you connect those dots. And I think that's so important. I hope that the younger generation are not only just listening, but taking heed to some of the stuff you say and realize that, things have changed significantly and they have to not only just hear what you say, but take appropriate action and move out because the next 5-10 years will be very different for some of these young kids, especially as they finish high school and enter college. Thank you.
Well, that is so true. I think it's important, and for folks like me, for parents and grandparents alike, Cliff, that we're gonna have to show them the way. I know they don't understand right now. They don't understand the impact of it, and they sometimes they look at us as being crazy and old and decrepit, that we don't know what we're talking about, and it's not like that in their day. But they're gonna find that what we're saying is wisdom, and they should listen to that. But I go through the same thing. I got grandkids, and well, my kids are middle age, but my grandkids and great grandchildren. I got young great grandkids, but my grandkids is at that age that they think they know everything and know nothing. They don't want to listen sometimes.
Yeah, that maturation process for life is something else, I tell you.
It really is. It's gonna be you and me this morning. Jerry had to go to the CNI doctor this morning. I told him he need to get him a CNI dog while he's there.
Uh-oh.
So
wow, that sucks.
Yeah, he had an eye. He said he had an eye appointment this morning. Yeah.
Okay. Well, check this out. I got a story for you real quick.
Okay. Take your time. We got
yesterday.
time.
Yeah, so yesterday I'm headed to an appointment at the VA, and I'm walking in, I'm just doing my thing, I'm minding my own business. And as I'm getting closer to the building, I come in contact with this older gentleman, and I look at him, I'm like, man, I know that guy from somewhere. I just don't know where. So anyway, we get a little bit closer, and the dude opens his mouth and he's like, yeah, look like you going to church or something like that, right? So the minute he said that, I'm like, Charles. And it was like, it was Charles. He was like,
Charles doing?
Yeah. So we shook hands and he was like, oh my God. We started talking and he was like, man, where you work at again? And I was like, I work at the city, man. And so he was like, man, here's my card. I want to get you on the show. We had DC on that recently, and I'd love to get you on the show. But I thought that was funny. The minute he opened his mouth, I knew that voice, and I recognized the face. I just couldn't put it together. But when he opened his mouth, I knew it. I was like, hot darn. So anyway, so I'll see Charles here online here pretty soon. I do got a few updates for you, which I think is interesting.
Okay.
As much as the mayor would like to, be off, he's not. He's gonna be on travel this week, starting actually tomorrow, and he's gonna head to Philadelphia. He's gonna. I think it's a pretty interesting thing. He's gonna go to Philadelphia to mark the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
And he's gonna be there with a whole bunch of other mayors. They're gonna partake in this event, which I think it's significant for the United States. It's going to be downtown in Philadelphia, and they're going to be walking hand in hand from City Hall to Independence Hall. So he'll spend his sort of 4th of July doing some neat stuff to represent the city of Pensacola, and I think in mayors at large, which I think is significant. But he'll be back in time for the Palafox event, which is Saturday on the July 4th at 10 a.m. Obviously, you guys know we finished Palafox 2 days, the incentivized project 2 days ahead of schedule, which was huge for the city, huge for the company. But it just goes to show when you provide an incentive to do something, which, sometimes you think you don't have to, but I think that's all in how you structure the contract. But you incentivize somebody to do something and they deliver on it, that reaps benefits for both parties. And obviously, the people of Pensacola will reap from benefits from this here. And we're also going to celebrate the 250th down there as well on that same day. And then while that is happening, our Parks and Recs was able to find a way to get a waiver to open Roger Scott swimming pool. So that'll open up Saturday as well from 12:30 to 3:30.
Okay, excuse me for that. I did report on that yesterday, and I'm glad to know that because that's going to be great news for some folks. And how was your manage to get a waiver to do that? That was good.
Yeah, I mean, it just took a little bit of work. I mean, I think what happens is, at least in my mind, you become so used to getting waivers year after year, and so we had to basically put our money where our mouth is. And one, we showed them that we got a plan going forward to make sure that we can take care of everything that needs to be taken care of with Roger Scott, which particularly is around the restrooms. But to say this year is going to be a little different, we did they did some hard work behind the scenes to work with them. And as a kid who benefited from like local swimming pools, I think that's a huge thing for the kids that they can get out go have fun and just enjoy the day. You know, and for them, they don't have to worry about all this here. You know, we'll save that for them in 5 or 10 years when they get older and they can come help and sort of move these needles for us. Let me see what else we had going on here. We had the Dunwoody Park public input. Well, long time. What was this? Oh, we had a long plan refresh of the playground equipment at the Dunwoody Park. Getting close, and that's going to be pretty close here. Basically, for public input this Friday, the park is getting basically a new Western theme play equipment that is Hawkins backs to its cowboy roots. That's going to be interesting as a fellow Texan. I can't wait to see something like that come up, and maybe how we can inspire the next generation of rodeo kids. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Here's one for you though that I think is pretty interesting. So, a $1 million Brownsville grant announced. I don't know if you heard about that one there yet, but basically, the EPA has basically given us a $1 million grant to help support two projects on the west side, right? So you got the first one, which is the Brownsville multi-purpose grant for the EPA purpose, and then you got the former Gibson School building and the Baptist Hospital Legacy Campus, where we prioritize, obviously, projects and applications. So this grant will be used for environmental assessment and cleanup activities. I think that's significant. Anytime we can get that kind of money to go to projects, to me, again, this is us being able to put our money where our mouth is, and EPA obviously has done that, and he's helped us out, the city of Pensacola, in a great way. Here's one for you, and I think you basically started this here, but the city, without 311 service, we're going to roll out an AI for our 311 service. And
Really? Okay.
yeah, the company is polymorphic. And basically what's going to happen is our AI is going to be Penny. So Penny's going to kick off here. Penny's going to kick off here. Yeah, July the 6th. She'll roll out. And right now it's going to kind of be in this learning phase. This is one of the neat things about AI is that, you go through the process, you kind of just sort of collect a lot of data. And then from that point, you can kind of self-assess. And then AI gets better and better. The more calls they get, the more complaints they take. So that's the goal here. We'll see how it works out, but we're all excited about Penny, and we can't wait to see what she can do for the city. Now, I know you reported on this. This was in regards to the e-bikes. And I think everybody kind of had a certain view after the governor had basically signed a legislation, or at least the legislation that passed, I should say. And then the governor went out and he vetoed it, right? So, so it's like we get something we think is going to go out and it's going to be safe for the people. It's going to help everybody. And then he vetoes it. Well, that's not going to stop the city. We're obviously going to take a look at what's safe, what makes sense for the people. I mean, when you get people walking around, we want to make sure they got a safe environment and that they're not in harm's way. And those e-bikes can be pretty dangerous. I know for myself from having a personal injury with one going about 20-something miles an hour, ended up with a concussion, jacked up my shoulder and had some other stuff going and had to have surgery from that. And that took me, at my age, it took about 2 years to recover, 3 years sort of to fully recover. So it's not a fun thing. And I can only imagine if somebody is a bystander or they get hit by, somebody with an e-bike or something like that, the damage that can be instilled on them. So, and then, I don't know if you heard about Petronas is sponsoring a Seaport Security Act of 2026. I mean, this goes in line with, I think this is all about evolution. And this Seaport Act deals with, unmanned aircraft, flying over places, doing surveillance and stuff like that. And so I don't have all the details on it, but there's like this 400 feet threshold, of overhead, whether it's ports or whatever. So there's more to come out on that. But I think this is a good thing to kind of look at, are we doing things right, as we sort of evolve and, we got all these drones out here and stuff like that, that can become an invasion of privacy. It can hurt organizations, and particularly ports, especially as they're trying to, maybe bring a ship into port, from the Navy side, that can be a nuisance. And then, go ahead.
Hold your point there.
Yeah.
Because I want to keep that. I was just reported yesterday. Was it yesterday or this morning? I reported that, in the national news, drones, you're talking about near airports and shipping lanes and stuff like that. A JetBlue aircraft was hit yesterday
Yeah.
at 3,000
3,000 feet. Yes.
with a drone. I didn't think a drone could go that high.
Well, that
3,000
goes to
feet.
tell you that's high.
That is high. That's
Yeah.
high.
Well,
And they got hit by a
yeah.
drone. And so this danger, it could have been worse than that. It could have got sucked into the intakes and so forth and been a lot more catastrophic.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I thought they had GPSs and so forth that will prevent that from happening. I know you have to get the FAA approval if you got to go to a certain area and certain heights and stuff like that. But I thought they had GPS controls environment that you couldn't get to that. No? Is that not true?
No, not at all. Yeah, once a drone, whatever form, and obviously there's different forms of them, but once they become airborne, I mean, depending on the model, depending on the make of it, I mean, some of them could fly obviously we got drones we use for airstrikes, so they can get just as high as an aircraft, 40,000 feet in the air.
But those
we
are
can
real
control
drones. I'm talking about recreational drones, right?
Even recreational drones. I mean, some recreational drones can get up to 10,000 feet.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. China's pumping those things out like you wouldn't believe. They are pumping them out, and the thing about China is that they're taking the opportunity not only to pump them out, but to test them, to retest them, and then to improve on it. I mean, China's took a playbook from us 30, 40 years ago, and they continue to just improve on that. Yeah, it is what it is right now. But I think we're taking the mindset of figuring out what can we do to sort of mitigate some of these things, which is important mindset, because we shouldn't just sit idle. Because like you said, you got passenger jets that put people in harm's way over silliness and people thinking it's something fun to play with. And obviously drones, the way they are, they're fun to play with, but they shouldn't be messing around with airspace.
Wow, that's I was just quite caught off guard. I didn't think drones could go up to 3,000 feet. You said they could go up to 10,000 feet.
Yeah, they got some. Yes.
Yeah, but I know, I do know real drones, what I call real drones, military grade drones, stuff like that. That's just a mini aircraft. I understand that part of it.
Yeah, but
just recreational stuff.
So the recreational drones, they're not what you think of as recreational in the sense that you got some control. It's pretty sophisticated technology, and it's similar to the actual drone aircraft. But they are recreational. Now, they cost a lot of money, and not everybody has them. But I mean, 10,000 feet, that's still pretty high to get up there and, to control an aircraft.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought you can continue what you started. But
yeah, no,
you
that's
said
right.
that drone there because that story just broke yesterday about that drone hitting that aircraft.
Did.
And then they had another story that these RC
Helicopter.
aircraft, these RC aircrafts, you know what I'm talking about? That remote control aircraft.
Yep.
They another airplane just dodged one of those. It was 400 feet under him as he was trying to come in to land.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's crazy. Crazy that it's happening. I just don't understand what would possess people to want to take a risk like that, knowing that there are lives that they're putting at stake. I mean, if they thought about it from the lens of, that could be your parent, that could be your uncle, that could be your cousin in that aircraft, you're taking a huge risk. And the pilot I like the way the pilot handled the one, particularly where we were talking about 3,000 feet. I mean, he basically said, we hit it. I think it brushed off the front of the aircraft, but he said, we don't need any help. We're coming in. And that was a good sign of relief to put everybody at ease.
Yeah.
No, we're coming in, but we in fact did hit a drone. So tough stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. And obviously Baptist is coming along. The towers are going to start to come down here to tower number 1. We basically started removing the interconnected buildings. And I mean, I think people can I passed by yesterday and just to see the landscape sort of change so much. At one point you saw just building structure, and now you saw open space. It's definitely a sign of what's to come and sort of the opportunity that exists for that community. And I think this goes back to a theme I hear constantly on your show when people talk about sort of the past and they talk about Oklahoma and sort of these communities that did exist at one point. I think when you look at that area, that particular area of Pensacola, what an opportunity to have a thriving community where people can take part in sort of what's to come as far as development, housing, restaurants, etc. I think it's a great opportunity. And I do believe that area could be a connective tissue to downtown. Downtown could be just what it is to serve a purpose, and the West Side area, particularly Baptist, could definitely be a connective tissue.
Yeah, but I reported on a story, I guess it was last week, about how the trend, people coming north, coming back south now, and we begin to see the effects of that. These housing needs and these other areas that were deemed black areas now being commercialized and bought up by big companies, and now they are gentrifying and the whole 9 yards. So a lot of folks coming back south. So
yeah, I heard you mention that, but it made me think, and I keep, as I hear this over and over, and I think about sort of the black community and how that's sort of articulated, and I keep asking myself though, well, what does that mean, and then how do we sort of take advantage of sort of what we're trying to get at for future, right? Because what I think what was the black community 30 years ago has morphed into something very different today. Mm-hmm. And then obviously as you continue your approach, the black community will be something very different in 30 years from now. And how do we ensure we capitalize on that? And how do we be strategic to make sure that I think you even said that history doesn't sort of repeat itself. History repeats itself until it doesn't, right? And that's the key, is that how do we shift that narrative? How do we make sure like your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids understand the stakes that they have to deal with, the life that they have, and how do they move forward? And truly try to understand what does microaggression mean, and how do you deal with microaggression, and how do you sort of navigate the space? I think that's so critical for people to sort of ponder that, to think about it, because every time I hear it, and I hear you guys say the black community, in my mind, I'm saying, wow, what does this mean? How do you capitalize on it? And what can you do to make things better? Because sometimes talking about it is great, but when you sit back and you really think about it, and then you say, oh God, I have a plan. And I'll give you an example. This was 1997. Actually, no, it was 2000. And I was in the Pentagon, first assignment in the Pentagon. And I don't know if you remember, but they used to print, the Navy used to print, the War College would print these magazines for warfighters to read. And at the time, I was a JG, and I took one of them home and I read it over the weekend. And in that magazine, it laid out China's entire plan over the next, basically it was their 30-year plan, right? Mm-hmm. And to this day, I still have that War College magazine. But everything that China went out to accomplish in that 30-year plan, they've accomplished it. They've actually surpassed it in some areas, right? Wow. So my point for that is that they put a plan together to say, this is where we want to be in 30, in 40 years. And I think when you think about the communities, I think that's important to say. We should have a plan to say where we want to be, because I think failure to plan is planning to fail, right? Right. And I think that's so critical. So, but let me see. I think that is it. Oh, wait, one more. REAP. So I mentioned REAP to you a while back, and we've been working extremely hard to get REAP up and running. It's 14 pallet shelters. It's a great opportunity for the community. One of the biggest concerns we got, though, is, and that's sort of been holding us back, is a safety issue. And obviously, we don't want to put people who are probably at the worst point in their life where they need help, and then put them in a situation where safety is not available for them. So we're pretty close. I went by yesterday, spent a lot of time with them to check out the area. And they assured me today they would sort of close this out. I'm going to go by a little bit later on today to check it out. But the biggest concern is safety. Once we get that up, they're going to put in for a TO, which is basically an occupancy with the city. And then city and I, we're going to approve that. and they're off and ready to go. They'll have 14 pallet shelters up and running. I'm already working with them on a second order. That order would get here probably August, September timeframe. And one thing that we will do is we learn from our mistakes in this one here. So we'll be ready to take the new ones, which will be 13 more, get them in, get them up, get them operative right away, get them cleared for safety, and get people in there. So by the end of the year, I mean, you can imagine we'll have 27 pallet shelters sitting at REAP that's helping homeless people in the city of Pensacola.
Yeah. Cliff, I got a couple of subjects I want to talk to you about before at 8:30, we're going to have on Joe Morris Funeral Home, David Hawkins. I know we know David now. He's the owner of Joe Morris, and Jeremy is we're going to talk about praying needs, because I've seen so many times in our community when something does happen, they are just not prepared to bury their folks. But we'll talk about that. When we get on that 8:30, we're going to deal with that subject. But I need your feelings on this. And I know you heard me talk about it every day, because, you know, I got certain pet peeves. You can tell them on what I'm sentimental about. Data centers and solar farms. Okay. Data centers and solar farms. You know, that's been an issue around the country. Nobody wants nobody wants the data centers and solar farms in their backyard. But they want to do, but I think I can remember the days when the cell phone towers, we're talking about the same issue about that and so forth. But what are your feelings on data farms and I mean data centers and solar farms? Why would that be such a big issue? And most of those entities going to be more out in more rural areas anyway. So give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta say, when I heard you talk about it, I said, man, I gotta get smart on this data centers and stuff, and why people resist it so much. I gotta dig more into it. I think, well, I know they generate a lot of power, so they take a lot of energy to run. And then I think there's this invasion of privacy that people at least feel. But we got data centers running around us everywhere. I mean, the city's got a data center. Walmart's got a data center. Home Depot's got a data center. I think what this one will do is expand the reach and capabilities, which I think is what bothers people more than anything. But I owe you something deeper on that, because I've been hearing you talk about it. I've been hearing people come to City Hall and talk about it. And I don't understand, because I'll tell you, as humans, at one point, we never thought cell phones would take off the way they did, and nobody wanted to give up a landline. And here I was thinking, I was like, man, I remember having a cord that was like 50 feet, so I can go from my bedroom to the kitchen to the bathroom and talk on the phone. And we had this new technology now called a cell phone, and everybody was reluctant to use them. And then to your point, we had the towers come up, and now everybody was talking about all these towers are going to cause cancer, you know, and everything else. And I think some of that is an alarmist at times, because the problem is that even if something does cause cancer, there's stuff we eat that causes cancer, and we don't know. It takes 30 years for something like that to just develop. Now, some people obviously develop much sooner, and that's just me just talking anecdotally, because I'm definitely not a doctor in that area, but I'm just telling you what I know. But as humans, we seem to have this sort of knee-jerk reaction to certain things, and then all of a sudden, everybody gets on board. Everybody's double down on a position, and they want to maintain that position. And I'll tell you, just like you asked me, I can't tell you why right now. I really can't. I think it does drain energy. I think that it creates a lot of other stuff. I think this centers around privacy and what is perceived invasion of privacy. But I will look into that, because I know we got there was a document that came in yesterday to me, and it was talking about a moratorium that I think the county put on data centers as well. So people are definitely taking a stance, and they're digging their heels into it. So by next week, I'll have something a little bit more granular that I can talk about and give you some thoughts, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, because I data centers to me, with the world of AI, they can say what they want about AI. AI is the future. I remember the days when computers came online and folks were scared of computers and what it's going to do, stuff like that. But AI is not returning. And so I think they kind of tied in with the AI, which it is. You're going to need data centers and so forth. to do all that. What people think the cloud is, you know, that when you store your data in the cloud, they go to these data centers. Okay, it ain't something that goes out in the sky. You know, so and solar farms. Solar farms to me to be an issue of helping save electricity and so forth. But I think the idea is that they don't want them in their backyard. They want the convenience of it, but maybe not in their backyard. You know, and maybe they want to do it just like they did before when the other infrastructure like interstate highways and power grids and power lines. They send them to the black community. So. All of these, maybe they ran out of black community to run them into. I don't know.
Well, I think, and this is so aspirational. I'll give you an example. When you look at SpaceX, right? You know, it's SpaceX is so aspirational, and people get excited over SpaceX, but at least what's in their perspectives and what they're trying to do when it comes to SpaceX is not only put an aircraft on Mars, but to put people on Mars. I mean, I don't think people realize the massive radiation that hits you on Mars, and there's nothing we can build on there right away because in order to build, you got to be in the elements. In order to be in the elements, you're gonna get radiation. So your lifespan just decreases that much significantly on Mars. But also, you got to think about the gravitational pull, your heart rate, how does your body adjust to all that stuff. The only way you can survive on Mars is to go underground. I mean, that's the only way you can survive. And in order to get to underground, you got to have some way to dig. You got to have some way to develop. And that takes time. I mean, I think that's 100 years out. I do. I think Mars, the capabilities of being able to sort of build some sort of station where people can live on there, that's about 100 years out. But people are getting all excited over the stop. Like, man, I could do something with this right now. SpaceX, the company, I think it's tough.
Yeah, I do. All righty. Well, you got anything else? I got as far as the city business concerned. You know, you're more than welcome to stay on if you like. Because I'm going to have you met David Hawkins yet, Cliff?
I haven't, but I got. Oh God, I thought I had 1 minute. It just hit, but I wanted you had mentioned something about burial and insurance, and I just wanted to go there with you real quick. 2007, December, I am set to visit my mom right before I go overseas to Japan because that was my next duty station. And I was going to spend time. So I spent a week with my family. I was going to spend a week with my mom at the time before I left. And it was going to be just like it was when I went in the Navy. Hey, my last day in the country was going to, be flying out going to Japan from her. Well, anyway, she died in her sleep that Saturday, the Monday before I was supposed to fly. Right. So it was unexpected. She died in her sleep, atherosclerosis. I went home that Monday anyway, without any clue of what to expect as far as burial, what to do. But I had no clue. But what I will say is that my mom actually had a plan. She had already paid for most of her stuff. She had already worked with a funeral home. So she basically had insurance set aside. She had most of the stuff taken care of. So when the kids went home, all we had to do was pick a casket, pick out everything we needed for her. And then she left us a little bit of money, which in that day and age was surprising that she was able to do something like that for us. So anyway, I think it's a great deal when people can make sure that they plan for the inevitable, which is I consider, it's unfortunate, but it's our ultimate destiny. So I think that's super helpful when people can plan and be prepared for it. So anyway, over to you.
Let me introduce you to Mr. David Hawkins. David is the owner of Joe Mars Funeral Home, Joe Mars and Son Funeral Home. Good morning, David. How you doing this morning? I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you flip your camera horizontally, David?
Okay, let's see here.
And what I try to tell folks, make sure you're in a good Wi-Fi environment sometimes, is you get so we can, the audio affected sometimes. But go ahead. David, I want you to meet Mr. Cliff Collins. He's down at the city of Pensacola. He's a man about town, and you're a man about town. I know you. I don't know where you have an opportunity to meet each other yet, but but I think it's a good time to introduce to you two. Cliff.
Okay.
This is David Hawkins, and David, this is Cliff from the city of Pensacola. He's an assistant city manager there.
David, good to meet you.
I've heard a lot about you, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
Oh, likewise. Thank you. I hope it's good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. Oh, that's awesome.
All right. Okay. All right, y'all. I got Mr. David Hawkins on, y'all. Mr. David Hawkins is the owner of Joe Morrison Sons Funeral Home. And we want to talk about some things here that I think need to be talked about in our community. That is pre-need planning, okay? Pre-need planning. And sometimes we don't always do that in our community. So David, can we talk about that as far as pre-need planning? I guess you got Mr. Your Jeremy. If I can pronounce his name, I didn't get it spelled right, but now, and I apologize for that. Jeremy, is he on with you this morning?
Yes, sir.
He is.
Okay, I can't see him.
Good. So let's see. I'll turn my camera back.
There we go. There he is. Good morning. How you doing, my man?
All is well. All is well. How are you?
I'm well. And I apologize for not getting your name correctly.
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes, sir.
Now, tell the folks, introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Jeremy Akins. I'm a licensed pre-need agent at Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home.
Okay.
He's also being modest. He's also the assistant manager, too.
Okay. All righty then. Gentlemen, I thought it was important that I bring you guys on today. I thought, and Cliff, you can probably remember this, but y'all so much younger than I am, maybe except for David. But anyhow, I remember the days. Now, I can go with David. David and I went to school together back up in Evergreen, Alabama. He was a year or two younger than I am, but nevertheless,
a year or two.
Yeah, you were about a year or two. You were one grade behind me or something like that. But anyhow, it kind of reminds me when in the country, David, you can remember this. You lived with your granddaddy, so I know you know this. In the country, we used to have what they call burial policies, right? And the ladies used to come around. And for what we call the insurance lady, and they had a burial policy. And when a child is born, they usually take out a burial policy on a child. It's like a 15-year insurance policy, basically. I don't know where they got away from that, but at least the parents, the parents then had the foresight at least to take care of your final needs back even then. I don't know why did we lose that? I think that pre-need counseling is necessary in our community, because I find too many people that I know that goes home and then they have to pass the plate to bury him. Can we talk about that, if you will?
Yeah, and that's unfortunate too, because we see that quite often in our business. However, the fundamental thing that we want to make sure that we leave your guests today, if we don't get anything else out of what we share with you, is don't put it off until tomorrow. Start today. And you start with things small. You go out and buy a $15,000 funeral, as an example. You can start small. But the big thing is take action. Take action. Do something about it. And I'm going to ask Jeremy to step in also and tell you a little bit about the different plans that we have and exactly about what kind of costs you could be looking at.
All right. So with the pre-need policy, as Mr. Hawkins has alluded to, the main thing that you're doing for your family is creating a peace of mind, not only for them, but for yourself. And so when you come meet with us at the funeral home, we'll go over the goods and services that you desire to have for yourself. And we also go over the numbers. And so for a traditional service, say for instance, you have something that's, $7,500. We have a life insurance product where it's basically a whole life policy on your funeral expenses. Whatever term that you select, you make monthly premiums. And if you pass away before your term is up, so basically using myself as an example, if I do a 7-year plan for funeral expenses of $7,500 and I'm making monthly payments of $125, if I pass away within 3 years, the insurance from the whole life insurance policy will cover the remaining portion of my funeral expenses. And Mr. Hawkins, we also have another program which we use as a trust product, where if the family cannot afford to make those insurance premiums, they can still do their funeral services for the $7,500. But instead of having the insurance, they have, basically what we call dollar for dollar program. So if they put in $5,500, their family will have to pay the remaining portion, when the time of passing occurs. And so that's, a bit of how the planning process works. But you're able to, select your casket, how many limos, where you want to have your service, and where you would like to be buried, or if you would like to be cremated as an option.
David, in the total scheme of things, how do we get that out to the community to start now? Even don't even, and with two things is definite in life. That death and taxes, and death came first, because we know that's going to be. Sometimes we can cheat taxes, but you're not going to cheat death. You're going to catch you one way or the other. So when is a good time to start that planning process, if you will?
You can start a dialogue immediately. Like I said, you can pick up the phone and call us. Even if you just want to get information, stop by the funeral home. We'll set a time for you to come by. We've got a couple folks that do this. Sit back and just tell us what you'd like. What's your vision? What would you like to do to make it as painless as possible for your family when that time does occur? So what we encourage you to do is to start today. Just come by. Like I said, we'll set a time with you. You come out and we'll sit down with you. You tell us what you want. We'll show you our different products. And then you pick the one that appeals to you, and we move forward. And based on what you tell us you want and your ability to pay and manage, then you've got things already set up. Just as Mr. Collins was saying earlier, you when that death does occur, then you take a lot of stress off of your family. They know what you want. They also have an idea on what it's going to cost. And the key product about everything that we're talking about right now is you get to lock the price in. In other words, if you pick that $7,500 funeral, but you don't pass for another 20 years, that $7,500 funeral, guess what? It's still $7,500.
Really? Okay. So that's a great incentive for you to do it earlier than not, right? Because you're right. You didn't pay that $7,500, and it might be people living a lot longer now than they used to live. And so you might get a $20,000 funeral for $7,500.
Exactly right. Now, just to give you an idea, when I bought the funeral home from the Morris family, there are some funerals out there that included everything that were like in the range of $4,000 and $5,000. And when I do an older funeral dating back from the late 1990s or so, Miss Morris would look at me, or I would look at some of my folks, and I'd go, Jeremy, did I have a good day? Jeremy would look at me and say, no, you had a bad day.
You cut your mic off. He cut his mic off, Jeremy, because you meant to take over, Jeremy.
I think you're on mute, Jeremy.
Okay, Jeremy, can you hear me?
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There you go. You're good.
Right.
We got Mr. Technology, Mr. David. He done cut himself off some kind of way.
Right. He'll get back on here for us. But as he was alluding to, one of the biggest things of having a pre-need is that you lock in today's costs. And so you're there, you're back.
Yeah, I had a phone call, and invariably that's what happens when you use your personal phone. So all my business calls are starting to come in. So if I lose you, Jeremy, just go ahead and take over.
Gotcha. Understood.
But we've got Mrs. Morris, like I was saying, Mrs. Morris taking over some of her pre-needs, which I have to do by law. It'll allow the family to be able to afford that funeral that they wanted at today's cost, but pay for it with yesterday's money. And the big thing is like I said, I said, Jeremy, did I win or did I lose? Jeremy said, you had a bad day. Meaning that funeral that they're paying $4,000 on in today's cost, I've got to pay $6,000 for it in my cost.
Wow.
But that's part of it.
Okay. Well, you're right. That's a part. That's a part of it. So You gotta do what you gotta do. But I think the important thing is to get the dialogue started now about pre-need planning because David, I know you this is your business. I know you see it every day. People are not prepared when something happens. They're not prepared to financially prepared, if you will, to bury folks. And I know that's how do you deal with a situation like that, David? I often wondered about that. If you care to share.
Well,
I know
the big thing you
you.
try to do, you try to be we are counselors also, and we try to talk to folks about what do you want first and foremost, and then the other part is what's your plan for doing it. And if unfortunately this is when we're paying out of pocket, we don't have anything, then we have some products where we've got a product that's just basically has a basic service but it's a service with dignity where you can pay just have a basic funeral and the cost is significantly less. So we try and have something for everybody. And you can take that product and of course, and we can put it in the plan and go for it.
How do they start the process? I mean, people that listen to this, what do they need to do? Call you up or call Jeremy up? And says,
so all you need to do is just call and say, I'd like to talk to someone about a pre-need. And then we'll go from there. We'll take it from there. We'll have someone call you back. Either I'll call you back or Jeremy will call you back or Miss Cynthia will call you back. The three of us. And we'll set up an appointment for you to come in. We'll sit down and talk to you, give you your options. You tell us what you want, and that starts the process.
Okay. All righty. Very good. Let me ask you this question then, David. When people, something does happen and ultimately it will happen, how do they handle? Some people don't know how. I just had a friend of mine that passed away, and his spouse had no idea. What do I do? What did I do? I said, call David. I said, I don't know, but call David. David, when things happen like that, somebody call you up. Do you walk them through the process and talk to us about that process, if you will?
Well, what happens is that you talk to me as you've done in the past, and I call the family back and says, "Hey, I'm so sorry for your loss. Let's talk about what you would like to do." She says, "Where do I begin?" Well, the first thing you're going to do is you have to call the hospital back or wherever your loved one is, and have them tell us what you like to do. So I'd like to go to Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home. That starts the process. Once your loved ones is safely in our care, then what we'll do is set a time for you to come in. You sit down, you tell us what you want, and based on that, we'll move forward and set time, date, place, the whole 9 yards for doing a service. But the main thing is that I'd like to convey is that what Mrs. Morris and the Morris family emphasized on me when we started doing this is that, David, everything that we do is about dignity of service. Dignity of service, and that's constantly reinforced in everything that we do, and it drives everything that we do. So that's what we try to do with all of our team members also. So all along the way, what we want to make sure of is that you're being taken care of the right way. And ultimately, if something does go wrong, then you're going to call me personally because I'm going to take care of it.
Yeah. What about those that really, they don't know that their loved ones have insurance policies, maybe the veteran and all that kinds of stuff? Do you kind of help walk through that process with them?
Yes, we do. And I'm going to let Jeremy step in a little bit because he's over there drinking his coffee and sitting back. He needs to talk a little bit, too, about what happens.
Okay, Jeremy, go ahead.
So there's a misconception with the life insurance policy that a funeral home can, search for a policy for you. But the best advice that we could give to a family at that time is to look at their loved one's bank statements to see if there was a draft coming out of their account, or if they knew of a company. We'll be able to call as a funeral home with the family on the line and search for the policy by their social security number and their full name. And typically that helps us. But there's no wide database for life insurance policies. And that's why we encourage pre-planning and talking to your family about, your end of life wishes so you can prevent those circumstances. And your second question was in reference to, if they were in the military. We encourage our families to give their loved ones or show them where their DD-214s are, at their homes. And that's basically
What's a DD-214? What's a DD-214?
Yes, it's their service discharge. So when they leave the armed forces, that says that they're honorably discharged or they retire. And that's how we're able to schedule with the National Cemetery Administration for your burial at Barrancas National Cemetery. And we also need that to, schedule military honors, for your family at the cemetery. And so if the family cannot find those, we can reach out to the Veterans Administration, and typically we're able to retrieve a DD-214. In some instances, it might delay your service for 2 weeks because they have to go in the National Archives to find that. But certainly we're able to walk you through all of these steps, in planning your service if you, don't know where to go. That's what we're there for.
Yeah. Cliff, I want to let you get in for a minute, but I got one other thing. I know just to dispel a myth. Some people think when they die, the Social Security office will take care of their burial. That's not true. Okay, they only pay what, and they only pay a nominal fee. And my theory about that, they pay like $250, but I think that was just a ploy so that they know who died. They give it to the funeral home so they can get them off the Social Security system. But that's just me. Cliff, you got some questions here.
No, actually, I just want to say this is a fascinating discussion. I lived another story about me where I lived at downtown. I lived by a funeral home called Moody Harris. So I had early on at least an understanding of how funeral homes operate, sort of what happens. As a young kid, I did go to the funeral homes, and you guys probably won't like this here, but for whatever reason, my sister believed that formaldehyde would help your fingernails grow. And so at some point as young kids, we were able to get them to put a drop of formaldehyde in clear fingernail polish, and she would use that. And that smell was just crazy. But anyway, this is such a deep discussion that people, I know, right? This is a deep discussion that I think people are not willing to have. And in that time of distress and everything else, I loved what, God darn it, David said about dignity of service, because I think that's so important, because people are in at this point of need. And what I have seen in every funeral home I've dealt with the care, the nurturing they take to deal with the people, even when they know that sometimes they don't even have the finances. And the biggest point you made to me is that as I think about this, people are paying for a service today at today's dollar cost, but you're executing at future dollar cost. So oftentimes, to Jeremy's point, your bad days is you're paying for something over the price that you paid for the service, which I think that's a great deal for the family to think about, especially at that time. In the DD-214, one thing I would offer is anytime somebody gets out, and I don't know why, but most people, when they either separate or retire, for whatever reason, they tend to lose that DD-214. And man, it would be great if they could just give you that, at least a copy of it, right when they sign up for service with you. That way you don't have to go looking for anything. You got everything you need. Because to Jeremy's point, it does delay it 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. And it is so painful to go through that process. It just adds agony to agony. So thank you guys for what you do and the way you sort of deal with the families in this local area. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
With today's environment now, you can put it online. You can just scan it and copy it and keep it online. That's what I encourage people to do right now. If you got a copy of DD-214, scan it. Digitally reserve it for future need, because that is the single most important document that a veteran can have.
Yeah, true story, man. My baby brother served sometime after me, came in, after I joined. He got out way before I retired, and he couldn't get his DD-214. Well, at the time I was working I was the chief of staff for the chief of Navy personnel. So I was able to tell the staff, hey, I need to get a copy of it. They got a copy of it within 24 hours. And I said, dude, put this away in the cloud, as we talked about the cloud, put it on a hard drive, put it somewhere. But he's got his DD-214 now. And then just recently, my oldest brother, who went in the Army National Guards, had no clue where his DD-214 was. So I helped him get his DD-214 because it is an important document, and he's in his 60s now, and he's obviously thinking about that end. And he called me, David, just to say, hey, so I'd love to get an understanding of how can I make sure that I get my daughter some insurance so that if something happens to me, it takes the guesswork out of it for her. And I think that's so important. But obviously that's some people forward thinking, some live day to day. And, like my daughter, I don't know. I don't even know if she's prepared for that. As much as we talk about, the beginning and then the end, I just don't know if she's prepared. And I keep trying to get her prepared, but boy, it's hard to.
That's a good conversation to have with her. We're talking. Matter of fact, there was a course that we used to offer. It's called Death and Dying. But one of the things I would encourage you to do is you have that conversation with her. And if it doesn't go very far, then you come in personally and talk to us and say, hey, look, here's what I want to do. I want to pay for $5,000 towards my daughter's service. And so that she'll have that. And then you do it and you send the paperwork to her and say, hey, look, this will get you started. And so that you know that I've done something, and that gives you peace of mind to know that you started that process. Even if they're a great procrastinator like I am, then you've done something about it.
That's a great point. Actually, I'm gonna spark that conversation over the weekend. I do got a question for you though. You had mentioned, I think you said you purchased a funeral home from a company before.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you purchased it, I'm assuming they had contracts for people maybe in the Pensacola area. How does those contracts transfer over to your new company?
Well, first and foremost, you're buying insurance. You're not investing money in Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home. You're buying insurance. And so that's the deal. The insurance is transferable. Wherever you go, you could say, we've had people move and they want to take their pre-need and transfer it to another location to where they now live. Now, there's the good part about that is that I'm required to accept that pre-need. However, I'm no longer required to accept that pre-need at the cost of what you paid for it. In other words, I can use today's cost. In other words, if you bought that $5,000 policy we were talking about, and today that cost is, instead of being $5,000, is $10,000. Well, I'm going to give you credit for that $5,000, but you'll still have to pay the other $5,000. So that's the disadvantage of moving the policy around. But the advantage is that you do have that head start. You can begin to make something happen today.
Okay, wow, David. Okay. So let me clear it. Okay, I think that's an important point and an important distinction to make, and that's a good reason also to have pre-needs planning, because you're just not invested into Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home. You invest into an insurance policy that in case you do move, it can go with you. Okay, and now, but if you don't move, that same $5,000 policy will take care of you regardless, as long as you don't move it. But if you go if you move to California, whatever you got into it, you're going to be applied. That's a good point. And I think people sometimes
you don't lose. However, you don't gain everything that you could have gained.
Right.
But the important point is you don't lose.
You don't lose. That's important.
And Jeremy can take you through some of the products, because some of the products actually also offer an interest rate too.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that's with the life insurance, product that we have. Once the premiums are paid in full, the policy starts to accrue interest on it. So typically, like if we have someone that's pre-planned in 2005 and they pass away now, their family might walk away with $3,000 or $4,000 in interest. They can't take the interest off of the policy as like a loan now, but the family will be able to get that as a death benefit to help them with their services or whatever they need to use the finances for. And that's only with the life insurance product.
I want to take it aside. Y'all know me because I try to see the lighter side of everything, Cliff. But you listen to Jeremy, and don't he sound like a funeral home director? Listen to that voice.
Hey, wait a minute. That's years of training and cultivation. You can't pick on my assistant manager.
You know, sound like I'm on the radio and TV every day, and I don't have that DJ voice. And David only owner place, he don't sound like a funeral director, but Jeremy, he sounds just like the proverbial stereotype they have on a funeral director. You got that
Jeremy,
going there?
don't you put your hands over your ears. Don't even listen to him. Jeremy's come a long way. Jeremy started with us when he was in I think the 11th grade, maybe.
Really?
And decided that this is what he wanted to do. Absolutely. And it was so ironic because when he came, I sent him home. And it took his uncle, who was a close golfing friend of mine, to come talk to me and tell me, hey, this young man really wants to do this. And I appreciate you if you give him a chance. I said, well, blah, 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 blah. He told me, he says, well, I tell you what, if you give him a chance, he can come by every Friday and I'll pay him. How do you turn down something like that? So I said, look, no, I'm man enough. I can't let you do that. But just in starting and working with him over the years, this young man has become very dynamic, very dynamic.
Yeah. David, I just want to, every time I talk to Robin, we have this discussion about Joe Morris Funeral Home, and we talk about, on Thursday, we always talk about local history and Black history in town. You guys have the honor of having the oldest Black funeral home in Pensacola. You say that you use the 1913 date, but Robin disagreed with you. She said that y'all go back to 1910. But anyway, been around for that long means something, don't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And she's funny. She said, so when you going to change your paperwork? I said, never. 1913 is the date that I have. And that's what they've been using. So that's the date I'm going to continue to use. I said, if you've got something that says 1910, by all means, share it with me. Because I want the family and so forth to know about it. But 1913 is the date I got.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. David, I'm going to let you and Jeremy wrap it up. If whatever y'all want to know, give them phone numbers and tell them what you want to know about Joe Morris and Sons Funeral Home and any need as well as the pre-needs.
All right. I'll let Jeremy start and then I'll close.
Okay.
All right. So the biggest, thing of today is, when you come to the funeral home to do a pre-need, you're delivering peace of mind for yourself and your family. So, that's the main benefit. You get to plan your own services, so that takes out the guesswork, from your family to make the decisions on what type of casket they think mama or father would have wanted. And you're also covering your funeral expenses. And so that relieves the, financial burden of having to bury your loved one. And of course, you can contact us day or night at 850-432-3436, and we'll answer any questions that you may have.
Okay.
And it's been a pleasure speaking with you all today.
All right. David?
Hey,
You there, David?
Just a little bit on that phone number. Can you hear me? Hello.
All right, you breaking up a little bit, but go ahead, David. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Just the point that I'd like to share with your audience is just that Jeremy's getting pre-need program, but I just want to say so much the Pensacola community embrace the services that we offer and continue to hear nothing but great things about what we try to do. And that's, to me, is why I still do what I do. And, how old I am. But important to me that the legacy of Joe Morris and Son Funeral Home continues. I promise Mrs. Morris I'd do everything to do it and try to do it all. And that's my mission.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I thank both of you for coming on today. And David, we probably have to do this on a more regular basis because I think it's important that people understand. Sometimes when we talk about death and dying and funeral homes, and people shy away from that subject. They don't like to talk about it. But I think we need to probably do it on a little more frequent basis and to let folks know what's available. And it's there to help them, because I think sometimes we don't always get the information about what we should and should not be doing when it comes time of need like that. But thank you for coming on this morning, okay?
It's been an honor for us to be your guest, and thank you so much for having us.
All right, no problem. All right, folks, thank y'all. Joe Morris Funeral Home, Joe Morris and Son, been around since 1913. That in itself, y'all, tell you something, okay? In itself, tell you something. All right, y'all, my time is up. I appreciate everybody. I'm on every morning from 6:30 to 9 a.m. and we try to bring the information that's important to you in this community. You just tell everybody that we're on, and I'll look for you. And it's like I said, as Omar would say, I love you with a perfect love. And as George Wallace, comedian, said, there ain't nothing you can do about it. And as old Blues Hound would say, you knows you the onlyest one that I love. I'll see you tomorrow, y'all. Have a great day.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go.